Very good evening to you. I'm Lisa Broom. This is the CBC Evening News. Prime Minister Fundell Stuart is assuring Barbadians that despite the challenges, the country will rise again. Mr. Stuart was speaking during the final repeat visitors reception for 2017 at Illawarra Court last night.
Prime Minister Stuart says the global financial recession has lasted much longer than analysts predicted, now approaching its 10th year. But in keeping with the season, the Prime Minister used the story of Easter as something for Barbadians to hold on to.
You do not understand life if you don't understand that you cannot enjoy Easters unless there's something called Good Friday. That Easter would be a philosophical absurdity if there was nothing called Good Friday. And therefore we have challenges that we have to endure, challenges that test the strength of our character and the firmness of our purpose. And when we pass those important life exams, and this is important for young, middle-aged, and old, because this is what life is about. You have your Good Fridays.
During last night's reception, Mr. Stuart thanked the visitors who have returned to Barbados year after year for their loyalty. He says it shows their confidence in the island, suggesting it was not only the sun, sea, sand, and friendly people that kept them coming back.
It is generally understood in this country that there's no room, no place for discrimination on the basis of race, color, creed, orientation, none of those things. We committed ourselves to creating a Barbados that is socially balanced.
As for the reception, Chief Executive Officer of the Barbados Tourism Product Authority, Dr. Kerry Hall, says they're invaluable to the country.
It's a big deal. I don't think any of them could really go to the White House in the United States or 10 Downing Street in London, and they consider it to be a great joy and an honor to come to the Prime Minister's reception. These people have been coming for many, many years. Tonight we have honored some who've come as much as 108 times, and we have to understand the economic spin-off benefits to Barbados over the years of these visitors. They have been coming, some of them for 40, 50 years. They have brought their children who are now bringing their children. These people have invested in this country. Many of them own homes here in Barbados, and they make a significant economic contribution.
Also in attendance, the new Junior Tourism Minister for 2017, Jada Hope. She wants Barbados to become a more fascinating place to visit by making culture and history more familiar to tourists.
So it wouldn't just be about how good our people are or how nice our country is and the beauty within it, but it'll also be the history behind such a great island, what made us who we are today. And I feel by creating something that would really show what we are as Barbadians.
Lisa Lord, CBC News.
Thanks, Lisa. Well, the head of the Barbados Hotel and Tourism Association says while tourist arrival numbers are up, revenue is down. And she's suggesting hoteliers and other tourism players may be forced to reduce their prices to remain competitive. Kent Jerson has that story.
BHTA Chairman Roseanne Myers says the fall in revenue is not just because of changing spending patterns. She says it's also due to the fact that less high-end visitors are coming. She was speaking at a conference for business leaders on the theme Beyond the Border, a practical approach to economic sustainability at the Radisson Aquatica.
Your largest growing sector, if you come down 4 lines, Friends, 8% change increase, right? And the share of the market is 12.8%. That number has been growing out of every market. Look at what's happening at the luxury end. You had a 5.2% drop in terms of the contribution of those people staying at the very, very top end. The top end, certainly in the winter and overall, is where a large percentage of our revenue comes from.
Ms. Myers says her research suggests those high net worth individuals simply chose to vacation where their money goes further.
At the highest end, that we thought there was no elasticity in terms of demand. We thought that over the years that no matter what happened, the very top end will still come, and they'll come to Barbados because they've been coming for the last 20 years. Well, enter Mauritius and Maldives. 5-star vacation at 70% of the price that you're paying to come to Barbados.
The result could mean local players are forced to lower their prices.
Every single tour operator have come back and said, sharpen your pencil. The rates that you are charging cannot fly in this market. You have to respond.
Ms. Myers also stressed that all local tourism players should monitor current trends so they're in a position to adjust as necessary. Kent Jerson, CBC News.
Thanks, Kent. The Chief Executive Officer of the Barbados Agricultural Society, James Paul, says it is important to increase agriculture's contribution to Barbados' economy. Let's hear from Shane Jones.
The BAS CEO stresses that in tough economic times, agriculture is a viable way forward.
We are actually seeing some positive signs in the poultry sector where we're seeing numbers going up. Dairying, that is also going up at the moment because of the fact that the impact of the cows that we had imported, the heifers that we had imported last year is now being felt in terms of increased production of milk. And in terms of the other livestock categories, we're hoping, for instance, we need to do some work on pigs, on pork in general, pork production in general, and fruits and vegetables is an area. Vegetable production is an area that we really need to address.
Mr. Paul believes Barbados can capitalize on onion production.
Last year we did start what we call an onion value chain project, in which we got the principal actors in terms of the production of onions, whether or not they are a producer, whether or not they're a marketer, or whether or not they just provide technical advice to the farmers. And we have brought them together in what we call a value chain. The objective is to increase onion production from 20%. We would like to double it, certainly next year, and we are looking to at least within 5 years see if we can aim at Barbados supplying at least 100% of its onion requirements.
The St. Michael West Central MP reiterated his point that the private sector must do more, again expressing concern over the importation of coconut water by BICO.
It is not a question that the current amount of trees being planted cannot satisfy demand. It can. Because the point that we are making is that if we allow the wholesale importation of coconut water from these countries, it will actually drive out those young men that you see on the highways selling and actually kill an industry activity that is providing employment for them who BICO will not employ. Because basically they want to do things in the most, I would say, frugal manner, right? But what I'm saying is that it is companies like BICO that we are asking to invest back into the agricultural sector.
Shane Jones, CBC News.
If a new Christian charity has its way, abortions won't be happening in Barbados. It's the newly launched Unborn Justice Project.
3 years ago, 3 young people, all under the age of 25, came up with an idea to provide a special kind of service to pregnant women. Camille Martindale, Siobhan Grosvenor and Kyle Martindale ended up forming what has become Unborn Justice, the first pregnancy resource center in Barbados. And 8 months after the initial meeting in 2014, the trio had its first client and registered as a charity.
Our mission is to be the voice of every unborn child, to empower mothers and fathers, and to post-abortive women. I want to go back a few years. Unborn Justice came out of a passion to see abortion ended and human life valued. We believe that God alone determines the value of a human life, which begins at conception.
And to do this, the registered pro-life charity is offering several services, not only to pregnant women, but to those who have had abortions and even the public. Among those services is free pregnancy testing and counseling, as well as CXC classes. But their flagship program is Earn While You Learn.
Our Earn While You Learn program is a parenting education incentive program designed to reward learning foster responsibility, and nurture relationships with clients. So clients earn mommy money or daddy money by attending sessions on parenting and other relevant topics. And the mommy money or daddy money may be exchanged for items from the baby store. Our Forgiven and Set Free program is our post-abortive healing program, and this is used to bring healing to post-abortive women who've had abortions. And each woman is taken through a Bible study during a 3-day retreat. And Forgiven and Set Free guides suffering and hurting women to bring their emotional scars from abortion out of a dark past and into his holy light.
Ms. Martindale says Unborn Justice has already had 6 successful births, 5 boys and 1 girl. She says their clients so far have been between the ages of 14 and 18, but they're open to helping anyone, regardless of age.
Well, I'm sure by now you must have heard the results of the NUPW's elections yesterday, but we'll tell you now what are the priority areas for the re-elected president.
Register now for the RBC Race for the Kids 5K Run and Walk in support of the UWI Cave Hill Campus Scholarship Fund. Visit our website or see press for details. RBC Royal Bank, it's all about you.
Time's tight, Bico's price is right. Bico's Double Delight French Vanilla 1-liter ice cream is now at the unbeatable price of $17 VAT inclusive. It's Barbados' best-selling ice cream at a best-selling price, $17 VAT inclusive. This offer available from participating outlets island-wide, Bico Mobilers and the Bico Direct Outlet on Harbor Road.
Stay informed with news you can trust.
The news at 7, lawmen searching for the suspect or suspects responsible for a shooting last night.
Current, accurate, Morning Barbados News, brought to you every Wednesday at 7 a.m. with the compliments of the Special Olympics Outreach and Skills Program, a project by the European Union.
The newly re-elected president of the National Union of Public Workers says his executive has 2 main priorities. Akani McDowell says they'll be focusing on salary increases and appointments.
One of the main things we would be trying to do going forward is for public servants to receive a salary increase. We met on Wednesday with the head of the civil service, and those discussions were cordial and productive. So we have to continue those negotiations. But I think the union has a very strong case for public servants to receive a salary increase. Outside of that, outside of salary increases, we would be looking at the matter of appointment. As we said before, there are a number of public servants across the country who are not appointed, and it is affecting the way that they do business. So the union has a responsibility to make sure that all public servants are appointed.
Addressing the contentious nature of the elections and criticism that there seems to have been political overtones, Mr. McDowell also says their aim now is to ensure the NUPW is unified.
One of our mandates, though, is to make sure that we bring together all of the members that we have, regardless of their political affiliation. The union is not assigned to any political affiliation. We represent members who are both members of the Democratic Labour Party and Barbados Labour Party, and our mandate is simply to represent workers. We're not really concerned with the political aspect of it. So if there has been some damage done before or because of this election, I think one of the mandates of the executive would be to repair any damage that has been caused.
Mr. McDowell was speaking after retaining the presidency in yesterday's elections. He amassed 1,053 votes to defeat challenger Roy Greenidge, who received 556. The first vice president is Fabian Jones, who got 902 votes, compared with the 598 polled by Margot Bannister. Asakore Beckles remains general treasurer after overcoming Horace Dean by 938 votes to 574. Corey Marshall is the deputy general treasurer, having received 862 votes to Michelle Brathwaite's 600. Kim Webster secured 791 votes to become the second vice president, defeating Kimberly Agard, who got 689. The third vice president is Charles Bostic, who got 611 votes, compared to his challenger Jane Albert Hall, who received 609. Well, head of one of the major trade unions says efforts are being made to destabilize these associations. Word of this from General Secretary of the Barbados Workers Union, Tony Moore, during the Barbados Secondary Teachers Union's march. She says at this time, workers and citizens need to unite in the face of economic threats, which could compromise the future of Barbados. Now, while admitting that such efforts are not new, she's concerned that they've become a lot more blatant.
We have to be conscious, we have to be mindful of these attacks as they come, some of them more subtle than others, some of them more blatant than others, and we have to be mindful to stand for our rights.
Attorney General Adriel Brathwaite is not satisfied with the progress the region has been making in the fight against cybercrime in the last decade. According to him, the region is behind and has been playing catch-up due to a lack of funding. However, he's thanked the Canadian government and the International Criminal Police Organization, or Interpol, for helping to boost the region's capabilities.
We do have some capacity issues. We do have some financial resources issues. We do have some knowledge gaps. So our international partners, yes, we thank you for what you've done in the past, but we look forward to your continued engagement, because this challenge will not go away.
He was speaking at the opening ceremony for the 3rd America's Working Group meeting on cybercrime for heads of units at the Hilton Hotel yesterday. Mr. Brathwaite says cybercrime continues to be a serious threat that affects everyone.
I am David Welch,
There is probably no country in the English-speaking Caribbean that has not been attacked by cybercrime, by cybercriminals, whether it be in the private sector or in the public sector, whether it be Jamaica, Trinidad and Tobago, Barbados, St. Vincent. None of us have been saved from being attacked. It is estimated that it has cost us billions of dollars, if not, well, worldwide billions of dollars, but certainly millions of dollars in the region. And indeed, to my recollection, it is alleged that one bank in Jamaica in 2014 lost, I think the figure given was 150 million US dollars stolen by cyber criminals and stuff.
And we're hearing that the Canadian government has pumped more than $11 million across the globe to combat transnational crime. One area that has attracted attention is cybercrime. Canada's High Commissioner to Barbados, Marie Legault, says this area should not be viewed as simply a matter of individual security, but also a threat to national security.
Somebody's identity is stolen every 3 seconds around the world. And many of our children can be subject to cybercrime through child pornography, bullying, or cyber stalking. So cybercrime is really serious. It is a multi-billion-dollar industry that targets individuals, financial institutions, intellectual property holders, government, of course, and critical infrastructure.
The Canadian High Commissioner believes work is needed to ensure the internet is secure for all users.
Canada's view is that we need to preserve a free, open, and secure internet. It is an essential tool for economic growth, for education, and for progress in general in each of our countries. This is why we strongly committed to supporting efforts to build the cyber capacity of our partners to secure digital infrastructure.
And cybercrime cases are expected to increase in the future. This prediction from head of the International Criminal Police Organization, Silvino Schlickman. He says cybercrime has evolved into a multi-billion-dollar industry, but officials need to continue to be abreast of the latest trends.
Indeed, for cybercriminals, the risk of being caught is currently lower than any other area of crimes. In most countries, criminals work with a confidence level ranging from 95 to 99%, considering the low percentage of convictions. They are progressively setting up online networks in order to access a large pool of victims. The weaknesses of internet governance and infrastructure combined with currently evolving technology make it difficult for us, police officers, to locate those responsible for crimes in cyberspace.
The director of the Cybercrime Directorate of Interpol believes cooperation between countries is needed to curb the practice. He also disclosed that perpetrators have forced victims to pay extravagant sums of money.
In one single case, a target was conned into paying more than $15 million. This operation is one of examples of how the increasing perverseness and new digital technology makes its exploitation for criminals' use inevitable. It is therefore crucial for police to stay ahead of criminals by understanding the new trends and responding with innovative solutions.
Harrison College is aiming to ensure its students become well-rounded in all fields and make a positive impact in society. The school marked its 284th anniversary with a service attended by past and present students at the St. Michael's Cathedral. Principal Juanita Wade says the students have continued to uphold the tradition of excellence.
This year, our students continue to follow in that tradition. Our program budget document speaks to our students entering 80% of competitions which come our way. We have surpassed that 80%. It speaks to placing first, second, or third in these competitions. We have done that. Whether it is academic pursuits, essay writing, speech making, athletics, other sports, music, I dare say cooking, or video creation, we continue to excel.
In his sermon, the Reverend Canon Joseph Hennis encouraged the students to seek God's divine guidance at all times.
Only God can supply all human needs. If you therefore aspire to be the best that you possibly can be, set aside a dominant place in your life for God. You may be engaged in a variety of interests, but among them include time for the worship of God. Pray and ask Him to support you all the day long of this troublous life.
With the Barbados Secondary Schools examination just weeks away, one local company is playing its part in helping to get students ready. Aries Technology Incorporated is doing so through its 11 Plus software and its popular 11 Plus Challenge. And that challenge is in its third year and it pits schools against each other in a game show environment. Sales and Marketing Officer Courtney Ramsey says several schools have participated, with many eager to take part in this new series.
We started a little bit late this time around, and usually we're the ones calling schools asking, trying to follow up, are you coming on board this year, are you doing it this year? This year I had at least one school that called me because we were late. And Courtney, I haven't heard anything from you yet, are we doing the challenge, because we want to be on board this year. And I'll leave that there because that's actually one of the schools that's doing pretty well in the competition. So it's definitely been growing from strength to strength, as you mentioned, in terms of our success and our growth as far as that's concerned. I thought that was a real testament to what we're doing, to have them call me in this third year to say, what's going on, we have not heard from you yet.
Managing Director Gillian Hassel tells CBC News that despite a difficult first year, the 11 Plus Challenge is doing well, receiving good reviews from students, parents and schools. She says it's a show families can watch.
A lot of times right now too on TV you don't have family time. There aren't shows that everybody can watch as a family. So we thought that would be a nice opportunity for us to have something where the family can sit down and watch. Moms and dads can use that opportunity to encourage their children as they're preparing for the exam, where they can watch and see if mom and dad can answer the questions as well, because they love to think if I know something that mommy doesn't know or daddy doesn't know. I hope neighbors watch it to see their own their own neighbors who might be participating in the show, or it gives them a chance for them to encourage somebody else that they know in their neighborhood who's doing the exam, because they just need a little bit of encouragement.
And with debate surfacing once again on whether to keep or scrap the 11 Plus, Mrs. Hassel sees it as vital.
The whole question of scrapping the 11 Plus. Do I think the 11 Plus should be scrapped? I see the 11 Plus as what I call one of the great equalizers within the educational system, okay? Because this is an objective examination, everybody gets to do the examination. So it doesn't matter what school you came from or you have the opportunity to go to the school of your choice. So that's one of the things I think makes it an equalizer. Here in Barbados, there's something that has been done as well, is to put in the zoning. So there's that 30% zoning that the government has implemented, which I think is a fantastic idea.
The demand for store-bought kites might be less this Easter, as students of the Milton Lynch Primary School have been taught how to make their own. The students received a crash course in kite making thanks to members of the Sandals Foundation. Sharika Griffith has more.
Armed with wood, glue, cord and plenty colorful paper, the managers and employees of Sandals Barbados taught the boys of Milton Lynch Primary a thing or two about kite making. Recognizing that many children now purchase kites rather than making them, General Manager Ferry Zivinger says he thought it would be a good way to interact with the students.
It brought me back to my island, to Aruba, and memories about how my dad taught us, kids in the neighborhood, how to make kites, right? And we thought it was a good idea. We did it with David, our PR manager, to say, hey, what can we do with this? Because it's fun to engage with the children. Some of them never made kites, or they don't have anyone who knows how to teach them. And it's something typically from the region. We all build different kind of kites. It's a creative process and it's nice.
Principal Andrew Haynes says he does not believe it is a dying art, as his charges have been making kites over the past few months.
From the beginning of this term, they've been making a variety of kites, but obviously using the wood and the glue is something that will be new to them. And it is quite obvious that they're enjoying it. And I once again want to really thank the Sandals Hotel for bringing a bit of joy into the lives of our boys.
So what sort of materials would they have been using before?
They would have been using the bones of the coconut branches, some of the leaves from the books, plastic bags, thread. Those would be the basic materials that they would be using.
Due to the school's nearness to the airport, they were unable to fly the kites, which many said were not easy to make. But they will have plenty of time over the upcoming Easter break.
I have never made a kite before. The experience I had today was one of the greatest ones of my life. I learned how to make a kite and how to build a frame.
Was it easy for you to make the kite?
No, it's very, very difficult.
Have you made one before?
No, I only make plastic bike kites.
The future of kite making in Barbados appears to be in good hands. Sharika Griffith, CBC News.
Thank you, Sharika. Well, the Youth Explosion Band is gearing up to leave its mark on the Junior Kadooment this year. Band leader Quincy Jones says they intend to celebrate the Crop Over Festival through the theme Up the Ting. He provided some insight as to what's in store for the band for Kiddies Kadooment to students of the Christchurch Girls' School. In 2015, the band won some 15 awards.
We are going to be upping it by celebrating Crop Over Festival with 5 sections such as Pan Panisan, Bridgetown Market, the opening gala, the scenic bus tours, because we are going to walk up the good. So when we get across the stadium, we got to make loud noise and make sure that Christchurch Girls is representing.
We'll have news from across the region after this break.